Hey, coming to you from Kauai, Hawaii, actually the town of Kikaha. It's a beautiful day here, and the reason we're living the dream is we found a way to bridge the three gaps that you're reading about in this blog. The first gap, of course, is the knowledge gap, and I'll tell you in a minute how you can get a lot more knowledge free to keep that gap closed or bridged, if you will. The second place where there's a gap is in alignment. What's an alignment gap? That's when tasks that people are supposed to complete to deploy the strategy that will attain the objective aren't executed. And here's the tricky part in network marketing. We're working with a volunteer army, so if it was a regular job, we could fire the person that didn't do what they were supposed to do. But in network marketing, people kind of volunteer. They already have a job. And you can't really treat them that way, and why would you want to treat them that way? This is what I found is very effective in helping people motivate themselves, including myself, so that the alignment gap, meaning not doing what we've agreed to do, doesn't open, or at least we can build a bridge over it. You've got to really commit to knowing what other people's goals are and know them in your heart. You've basically got other people's goals memorized so that when you agree on the actions, you always link them to the task or the action. That will prevent that gap from opening up. Let me give you a simple example. Let's say I'm working with Mo, and Mo's real motivation is to put his kids through school. He doesn't want them to walk out of school with any debt. So I'd say, Mo, this is what we need to do. We need to dial together 8 hours a week to prospects. That's what will pay for Jack and Jill's education. So link what they want to the task, and you'll find that alignment gap, people doing what you agreed to, doesn't open, or at least you can bridge your way over it. Now the third gap is the effects gap. What's the effects gap? Well, this is when people are executing the tasks. You're doing what you're supposed to do, and your leaders are doing what they're supposed to do, but you're not getting the desired result. What does that mean? Well, that means that the plan or tactics that you have will not get the objective done. And this is a little trickier, and let me help you relax a little bit about it. You don't have to go through the tricky part like I did to learn this. Build a plan for 30 days with your leaders, and at the end of the 30 days, if they've executed the actions properly, and let's say they all wanted to sponsor one person and they haven't, then that means that the plan or the tactics that you've set up will not fulfill the objective being accomplished. In other words, you want to take an inventory. Look, we all know, everybody says, if you don't take an inventory in your business, you're out of business. How do we take an inventory in this? Is the plan that we have executed? That's the alignment stuff. If it is, and you're not getting the results, then you need to change the plan. But don't go back and change it every day. This business takes a little time. I found 30-day increments to be great, where you're meeting with your leaders and evaluating what your objectives are for the month, and did you hit them? If they didn't, then that probably means they didn't do enough recruiting. Very easy for leaders to start managing rather than doing the initial thing. I love to say the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. So that gap that can open up, the effects gap, is when our plan doesn't get us what we want when we've executed it. We need to re-evaluate it. And I can tell you from personal experience, generally what happens is we're just not contacting prospects enough. So monitor what you're doing during the course of the month, and then measure it against your objective. If it's hitting your objective, celebrate. If it isn't, you're suffering from an effects gap, and you need to increase the amount of recruiting, or maybe the goal has been a little too high and you need to reset that. So the three gaps are knowledge, and I'm going to show you, like I promised, to get there, more knowledge, alignment, and effects. You can get more knowledge so people are doing the right thing more often if you'll simply go to worldslaziestnetworker.com, click on free recruiting, free training skills, and you'll find 5 or 6 of them there that'll get you up and running. And if you do, you'll keep these gaps closed, and we'll see you on the beaches of the world. Mahalo.